Welcome to Monday. Hello, hello. Good to see you today. Man, this is that Monday we've been looking for since January. The one right before spring break. The last one before the break. Been looking for this for months. Oh, here, let me put my little graphic up while we're waiting on Dallin to come on in. Mood check-in. What's our mood like this morning? I'm actually probably close to it, right at a 3. I'm pretty excited because it's the last week before spring break. I always get excited about a break coming up. It's nice just to have some time to turn off the alarm clock. That's what I really look forward to. And other things are great too, but as long as I get to turn off the alarm clock and get up when I'm ready to get up, rather than when the world is ready for me to get up, I like that better. But yeah, there's our wheel of mood. Looks like I should be able to spin it, doesn't it? But it doesn't spin. It doesn't spin. So no spinning the wheel. So you had a blah. Most of my programming class this morning when they came in is mostly blahs. There was a few chills, all 2s and 5s. That's the only responses I got. 2s and 5s. Blah. I'm awake. I'm here. What more do you want? Right? That's about where most folks have been today. Blah. So, but that's all right. It's good. It's good. It's good. We're just excited. Spring break is coming. We're right on it. We're close. So I encourage everybody, get all your assignments done early in the week and make your spring break longer. Love it. All right. Let's see. Let me get this pulled up so we can get through our class and help get that spring break here closer for everybody. All right. So we'll pull up our cybersecurity. Go to our grade screen, and it says that we're on 2.04, cryptography and digital signatures. We looked at cryptographic algorithms last week. So we'll look at this. Digital signatures is something we're getting used to in this society. We use those quite a bit these days. But let's look at our lesson on that. Cryptography and digital signatures. So while it's important to understand the foundations of cryptography, it's equally important to understand how it's used in cybersecurity. For example, a digital signature. Let's click on that. Oh, there we go. A type of electronic signature that encrypts documents with digital codes that are particularly difficult to duplicate. So a digital signature uses a secret code to associate a signer with a document in a recorded transaction. Digital signatures use public key cryptography to verify a message. So as a teacher, when they send me a new contract for next year, I sign it with a digital signature. We don't actually print out contracts and sign contracts. We do it on the computer with a digital signature. So it uses a secret code, and it associates me with the document, and the recorded transaction shows that I signed it. Much like handwritten signatures, digital signatures are unique to each signer. So you can tell somebody else signed my contract. When a signer electronically signs a document, the signature is created using the signer's private key, which is always securely kept by the signer. So my computer keeps that secret key, showing that I was the one that signed it. So the mathematical algorithm acts like a cipher, creating data that matches the signed document. It's called a hash, and it encrypts that data. So the resulting encrypted data is the digital signature. It's also marked with the time that it was signed. It does. It stamps that electronically. And if the document changes after the signing, then that invalidates my signature. So if I sign the contract and I send it in and then they change it, my signature is no longer valid. No longer valid. So there we go. Let's look at the little chart they gave us here. So the signer has the data, right? And It has a hash algorithm. So here's the hash 1000111010. It's encrypted with a private key and digitally signed. So then that transmits it through the network to the digitally signed document. The hash algorithm is there. The public key is there because it public key, they can decrypt it there. And so the signature is valid when the hash values are equal because it checks that digitally signed document to see if it has the right hash. You notice both of them have the exact same hash number. So they said, okay, this is the right person that signed it. Let's look at page 2. Why use a digital signature? Well, a digital signature provides added assurance about the origin and the identity and the status of a document. There are several reasons someone would want to use a digital signature. One thing is authentication, right? While messages often include information about where the message is being sent from, we know that can be faked. We see that all the time with the hackers and everything. They can fake where information is coming from. You get emails all the time that say they're from one place, but they're not. They're junk emails. Digital signatures can authenticate the source. So high confidence in sender authenticity is extremely important in financial documents. So there's lots of things that are done electronically. There's a lot of electronic banking and all kinds of things that involve finances that are done with digital signatures. So for example, a bank branch might be sending instructions to the central office requesting a change in the balance of an account. Okay, this person came in, they took $100 out. So we need to change the balance to show they have $100 less in their account. If it doesn't have a digital signature to authenticate the identity of the source message, the instructions might be a cybersecurity attack. So, integrity. In many situations, the sender and receiver of a message may need complete confidence that the message has not been changed during the transmission of it. Once a message is digitally signed, then any change that occurs invalidates that signature after that was digitally signed. So that's another way to make sure someone has it intercepted messages and changed things and send it on. Prevents an attacker from intercepting a message, changing the contents before it reaches its destination. So that's important in a lot of transactions, contracts, etc. Okay, non-repudiation. More specifically, non-repudiation of the origin. It's an important characteristic of digital signatures. This means that once a document's signed, someone cannot later deny they signed it. Oh man, I never signed that. I don't owe that loan. I never signed it. Right? Example could be someone signing a binding contract and later deny it. I don't have to pay that loan back. I never signed that. Well, yes, we do. We have your digital signature, which verifies it was you. Public key infrastructure. Digital signatures use a standard accepted format called public key infrastructure. It's a system of processes, policies, authentication, and technologies that govern encryption. We've talked about public keys, or PKI, to provide the highest levels of security and universal acceptance. So across the globe, digital signatures have the same legal significance as the more traditional forms, like hard copy documents, physically signed things. So you could take this to court with a digital signature, and it would be just as valid as having a handwritten signature. They're widely used to avoid forging of or tampering with important documents, like financial contracts. Digital certificates. So digital signatures don't always guarantee complete confidence in the author originator, because we know people can fake a lot of things these days. Just because a digitally signed document claims to come from a certain individual may not mean that it did. Cyber criminals can masquerade as the sender by producing their own public-private key pairs and use them to produce digital signatures. So digital certificates help alleviate this. So it's a lot like an ID card. It includes the owner's public key and algorithms used for hashing and encryption. It means it's a binding public keys to their owners. So if it doesn't have the correct public key, digital certificates are issued by certificate authorities like CAs who validate the owners of public keys. The CA does this by validating the identity of the owner of the public key. Once the owner is validated, the CA binds the public key to a digital certificate and signs it using its private key to confirm authenticity. The CA's public key is available to all parties who need to validate the CA's assertion of public key ownership. So it's kind of like a backup system that says, okay, I'll certify that this is the public key for that person. So when they send something, you know it's the right public key. If you get something that has a digital signature, but it has a different public key, that's a way to know it's been faked. So let's look at this little chart here. The applicant key. Okay, they have identifying information, and it attaches their public key, and it generates the CSR. So that's sent, and there's a certificate authority, the CA. It validates the identity. It generates a signed certificate and sends it to the applicant. Here's the digital certification. And there's a private key attached, and one sent to the applicant, so they should match. So this private key says, yes, this is the correct identity of this applicant. Digital certificates still require a chain of trust to confirm that they belong to the person or organization you think they belong to and not been compromised. Cyber criminals have been known to obtain certificates that were then used to sign software that included malware. Stolen certificates have also been used to sign malware. All right, now let's check which cryptographic information is stored in the digital certificate. The owner's public key and the algorithms that used for encryption and hashing. So that's how you verify that the owner's public key is the correct key. That's what that document, so that's what the digital certificate helps us with. Page 4. Digital certificates and the web. So information sent on the internet passes through a network of multiple computers to reach a destination, right? Because the World Wide Web is all kinds of computers out there. In the past, any of these computers could read the data because it was not encrypted. This data can be valuable to hackers because it typically contains highly sensitive information. Includes unencrypted private messages, financial information. In some cases, even usernames and passwords were sent unencrypted. So early security experts needed a way to protect that data, so they developed new standard protocol to send and receive internet traffic. The first standard created was the Secure Sockets Layer, SSL. So it used to be when you set up email accounts on software, you had to know the SSL number from your email provider. But that's been largely replaced now by transport layer security. So they found something that does it even better. So it's slowly phasing out the secure sockets layer and putting in the transport layer security. So TLS certificates are a type of digital certificate issued by a CA. The CA signs their certificate certifying it's been verified that the certificate belongs to the owners of the domain name listed on it. So if you get an email from some domain name at bobsbank.com, this certificate it has can verify that, yes, this message came from bobsbank.com, not some dude on Gmail faking an email like he's bobbanks.com. So here's what TLS certificates usually contain. The subject domain name, bobsbank.com. The organization, the issuing CA name, whichever certificate authority is verifying this for us. Additional subject domain names, including subdomains. Maybe there's Bob's Bank has bobsbank.net as well, and other names. The date it was issued, the date it expires, the public key that's attached to that, and the digital signature by the certifying authority. All right, page 5. Why trust certificate authorities? You know, you see that on certain websites. You'll have HTTPS, which means it's a secure website, as opposed to just HTTP, which means if someone sent you something and it's asking you to fill out any kind of personal information, you want to make sure there's an S in the web address. If there's not, it's not encrypted. It could be stolen by anybody if it's not an HTTPS. So it's one of the signs that may be a hacker. So each time you visit a website that begins with HTTPS, you use a certificate authority. Without them, you wouldn't be able to shop or make any kind of monetary transactions online. A CA's job is to verify the websites and organizations to make sure they are who they say they are. When you visit a website, you see that padlock. See that padlock is closed with it has the S. It's open if you don't have the S. Not all browsers are going to show that necessarily, but that'll be there. If you see the padlock, the technology enabling that security is a TLS certificate. They're based on PKI, the system of processes, policies, authentication, and technologies that govern encryption. And a few key parts need to be in place for that certificate to work. So CAs manage something called a certificate revocation list, or CRL. This is a list of digital certificates that have been revoked, meaning that site's no longer safe. Checking with the CRL is important because it allows users to verify the identity of a site owner and ensure that the digital certificate's trustworthy, that it's still in place, it's still being encrypted. Maybe the website was in the past. Now it's changed hands because they didn't pay for the renew the website. So some hacker bought that website, which is not uncommon. And then people think that's still a valid website. But the digital certificate would be revoked once the original owner drops the website. So if it's been revoked, the user sees a warning on the browser that the site's not safe, causing the user to complete extra steps to continue onto the site. You may have those occasionally when you're browsing and it'll pop up a window. Hey, this site's not safe. Do you want to continue? No, this may be a fake website. So private CAs can be set up within an organization for internal usage. So it's not always an external website. Most network operating systems have certificate services. Public CAs are needed for business-to-business communications. So they use third-party CA services for that. But if you're doing a large network internally, you may have some private certificate authorities set up. All right, let's check out page 6. Nope, just a knowledge check. Match the term with the description. If correct, they will reveal parts of a hidden image. All right, this is our last thing here. So what's a match? Uses a secret code to associate a signer with a document in a recorded transaction. Associates the signer with the document. So it's going to be TLS, CRL, digital signature, or digital certificate. Let's see our other options here. Much like an ID, this includes the owner's public key and algorithms used for hashing and encryption. Oh, that would be the digital signature. Am I right? Nope, I'm not right.
I think it's the certificate.
I think you're right. Yes. Let's see. Use a secret code to associate a sign with a document. Think that's going to be the digital signature, or is that going to be CRL or TLS?
I think it'll be signature.
I think so. Yep. So standards developed to help secure internet traffic, or a list of digital certificates been revoked. Which one's the TLS? See, TLS, that was the new standards, isn't it? Yes. And this is the certificate revoke list. That's a nice way of thinking. CRL. Certificates have been revoked. All right, we got some llamas telling us great job. Thank you, llamas. All right, that is the end of the lesson. It just says read the lesson, understand, and then do the quiz. Let's take a look at the quiz while we're here. 3 attempts. So which type of digital signature encrypts documents with codes that's difficult to duplicate? 1, 2, 3, 4. Just 5 questions. And all the stuff that we just looked at this morning. So there you go. Oh, thanks, Alora. My kids got me this shirt for Christmas. This is a Legend of Zelda shirt. It's got the Triforce. It's got rupees all over it, all kinds of rupees. Got the sword, got the hearts, a whole Legend of Zelda Hawaiian shirt that my kids got me. Fun stuff. Thanks for noticing. All right, guys. Spring break. Won't see you for 2 weeks. It's a B-day this Friday for any of your classes that you need to be in. But yeah, get your stuff done. Be done with spring break earlier. Have longer than a week. These folks in the building those kids have to wait for Friday. You guys can be on spring break earlier than that. So, all right, guys. We'll see you next time. Have a great spring break.